Hello beautiful people, my name is Tim Lee Michael. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and of course welcome to another Draw Too Much sketch lesson, where today we're going to take a look at the drawing that I did in my last 3 videos. Now please consider that this drawing was done within 20 minutes grand total, roughly, give or take, and I talked a lot about how to knock this out fast. Now this is a theme park style caricature. We would draw this at a theme park or on a party location or whatever, and either email it to the person or print it on a small printer and give it to him in that moment. So here's the question: how good is it? Where did I make mistakes? And how big a deal are those mistakes? Let's talk a little bit about that and see what happens. I can see a lot of purists out there going, well, this is messed up, but if you consider how quickly it was done in, what you're trying to do when you're drawing these caricatures, and what the final result is after only 20 minutes, let's take a look at it. I'm going to go ahead and set my timer for 5 minutes, and let's talk about this a little bit. Okay, so looking at my image here, I think that the likeness is good enough, and when it comes down to it, getting a proper likeness is key, but what's more important than a proper likeness, and I wish my pen would behave right, there we go. What's more important than a proper likeness is a proper essence. If you feel him in this caricature, that's far more important than an exact likeness. Believe it or not. I know that sounds like a surprise, but that's the truth. Let's look down the face here and see what kind of mistakes we have. Starting with the hair. The hair looks good, could use more texture. This kind of stuff right here is a little fugly, but it's not terrible. Little mistakes like this, where I'm not coloring in the lines, or little blops like that, are important to do your best at, but when it comes down to it, you are trying to complete something quickly. We got another one over here as well. As we come on down the face here, not too bad on everything. We come down to the eyebrows. They look fine. It would help if there was just a little bit more form to them, maybe coming this way, instead of a couple lines that kind of pop off to the sides. Maybe give them a little bit more form like that. Coming down to the eyes, they look roughly okay. There's not too much problem. It wouldn't hurt to see more shadow in this area here. Wouldn't hurt to see a bit more shadow going on here. But once again, that's all down to preference of how quickly you have to detail things and what you're trying to complete. If you're really picky about it, even more shadow here under these parts of the cheeks to make them pop more is something that may be key as well. Also, continuing this V shape with your shadow down underneath the nose may be important as well, getting more of that shadow onto the bottom lip as well. He does also have a little bit of a cleft in the center there, so drawing that down over the lip would have been important as well if it really came down to these kinds of details that are necessary. One big thing I'm seeing here is that, yes, the top of the eyebrow lines up and the bottom, not so much, but that's a good form of exaggeration that does just fine. But look what I did on the other side here. Not even close. So this ear should have come up and come down more to fit. But so I would say if there's one big mistake of this so far, it would be this ear over here, and that ear should have been larger and probably smushed into the side a little bit more just to keep it more dynamic. I wouldn't have put it out this far. I would have kept it at the same distance here, but I would have made it taller overall. Coming down to the bottom of the face here, this looks pretty decent here. I don't mind these forms. That looks good. Coming down to the chin, that looks good. Little mistakes like this right here and right here are pretty important, but at the same time, when you're drawing stuff really quick, that's that kind of stuff. So here's the question: how big a deal should you make on all of this within 20 minutes? Considering that this took 20 minutes to draw, how long would it take an average person who's inexperienced to draw this? This could take several hours. No joke. It could take a long time. So how much effort should we put into this at the end of the day? Making these mistakes is just a part of life, and unfortunately, it's going to happen no matter what. I've sent people caricatures that don't have irises. I've sent people caricatures that don't have shadow. I've made those kinds of mistakes, and that happens because in a theme park style situation where you are there and you're drawing someone live, you are focused on one thing. You're focused on telling them that how to have a good time, making them laugh. Not only are you drawing them, you're also a comedian. Your job is to be funny and keep them laughing, because at the end, if they were laughing their head off and you got the essence of them in their caricature, I promise you, from head to toe, even if it is not the perfect likeness in the world like them, they will love this, they will take it home, they will hang it up and enjoy it for years to come. The most important part of this is that they have a good time. Believe it or not, your job is not to get the perfect likeness. That's called a portrait artist. That's called a photographer. Your job is essence. Your job is to find what brings the joy in their eyes, what brings the joy out of them, and that's the key focus. Another important thing to note is look at his eyes. I did him in this deep blue. If you look over at his eyes, they're kind of more of a teal, green. You really can't tell. Unless you're there in person, it's very difficult to work off a picture to get eye color. So if you're concerned about that, make sure when you're emailing back and forth with a person or messaging them on Facebook, whatever the case, make sure you ask them what their eye color is, because pictures usually do not properly detail what color people's eyes really are, because you're dealing with a pupil, you're dealing with shadows around the eye. Those are things that you need to keep in mind. All in all, how do I feel about this piece? I do rate this about a 7 or 8 out of 10. I do, because yes, there are some mistakes here. But for 20 minutes in a quick theme park style caricature, there are a lot of things that you do not have the time to focus on. So I want to share that with you, and that's the end of our video there. That's 5 minutes. That's what I want to share with you, because I want you to have an open mind. As you're learning to draw and draw caricatures, I've been a professional caricature artist now since 2008. It's 2019 now. I've been drawing for years. I've drawn over 3,000 plus caricatures, and I've done thousands and thousands of digital pieces. And this is, when it comes down to fast stuff, you're still going to walk away with a super happy client with this piece. But I want you to keep an open mind, find those areas you can work on, fix those mistakes as you can, learn muscle movement to know where to go next with your hand, to get something done fast, to get the caricatures out. That's where the money comes in. That's where you succeed. That's where you get people smiling, walking away happy that they sat down with you. I've had people, after going to a theme park at Disney, having a great time with their family, and at the end of the day, they sit down and have a caricature with me, and when they walk away, they said that was more fun than going to the theme park for the whole day. That's the ultimate compliment, and I want you to have the chance to have that said to you as well. Focus on giving them a great time and giving them the best piece you can with a focus on their essence. Likeness is great. It's very key. They're not going to buy it if it doesn't look somewhat like them. But that essence, showing their spirit, showing their attitude, showing what makes them unique, focus on that, and you're going to have an amazing caricature. My name's Tim Lee Michael. Thank you so much for checking out my video here on Draw Too Much. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you get notifications on future ones. And I also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Tim Lee Michael. It's in the description if you want to support me on Patreon. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.